Heartwarming twist. Nurse steps in for friend on blind date. Incredible CEO's life changed forever. Lisa's heart raced as she stood on the threshold of Café Paradiso, a swanky restaurant glittering with polished glass and golden chandeliers, a world far removed from her scrubs and the bustling hospital ward where she spent her life caring for others. Just hours ago, she had been knee-deep in medical charts, her hands worn and calloused from the long shifts. But here she was, thrown into the business of the elite, filling in for her best friend who was facing a family emergency. As she stepped inside, she felt the soft hum of jazz wrap around her, mixing with the clinking of glasses and the low murmur of laughter. "What am I doing here?" she thought, her ribs tightening with insecurity. Lisa, a dedicated nurse at 30, had devoted her life to her community, splitting her time between caring for her parents and supporting her younger brother's dreams of college. The thought of dining in this upscale restaurant, surrounded by folks who seemed to glide effortlessly through life, made her feel small. Just then, Nathan arrived, a polished, high-powered CEO whose charm could light up a room. With his tailored suit and warm smile, he was the picture of success. Lisa couldn't help but see the contrast between them. As they exchanged pleasantries and settled into conversation, she felt the burden of their disparate worlds begin to weigh on her, like an anchor pulling her down. "Tell me about your work," Nathan asked, leaning forward with genuine interest. Lisa shared stories from the hospital of the patients whose lives she touched, the struggles they faced. His laughter was warm, and she felt the tension of her insecurities begin to melt away, until he mentioned charity events and galas. "Do you ever get to attend those? Must be nice to rub elbows with important people," he remarked, eyes glimmering in the soft light in that instant. She felt a sudden flush of indignation. "I'm too busy saving lives to worry about gala invitations," she shot back, the humor evaporating. "What do you mean by that?" he countered, his eyes narrowing. The atmosphere shifted. Her pride and defensiveness flared up. "Not everyone can live in a bubble of privilege. Some of us fight for our families, day in and day out." They locked eyes, tension crackled in the air. Underneath the glitz and glamour of fine dining, they were two souls searching for understanding, yet held back by barriers of social class. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let us continue with every question, every jab. Both Lisa and Nathan laid bare their vulnerabilities. He described his world, the pressure of success, the expectations of family fortune. She opened up about her sacrifices, her young brother's dreams. They stood at the edge of discretion, teetering on the brink of something deeper, something raw. The night concluded with a fateful silence wrapping around them, thick and heavy. In that stillness, they realized they were both at a crossroads. Lisa looked at Nathan, her heart pounding. "Can you see beyond your privilege?" she whispered. Could love be worth it, despite the differences? Would they allow their burdens to bring them together or keep them apart? The unanswered questions hung in the air like a promise, one that would change them both forever. Lisa felt a mix of relief and apprehension when Nathan shifted in his seat, breaking the silence that lingered between them. The powerful man in front of her was peeling back his polished exterior layer by layer, exposing a vulnerability that mirrored her own. She could see a storm brewing within him, a turmoil he had kept buried beneath tailored suits and boardroom bravado. "I never thought I'd meet someone like you tonight," Nathan finally said, his voice a quiet thunder. "Honestly, I've been counting the days until I could escape these endless charity events and business meetings." He leaned back, his expression contemplative. "People assume my life is perfect, but it comes with its own pressures I sometimes feel suffocate me." Her heart tightened. She had never considered how the glamorous world he inhabited could feel like a gilded cage. "You're not just a CEO, you're a person," she replied softly, a sense of connection building between them. People are more than their titles. For the first time, she saw something shift in his eyes. A flicker of understanding, or maybe something deeper, something that made her stomach flutter. As they launched into a new topic, Discussing shared passions and surprising wins, a lightness entered the conversation. The jazz played on, soft notes of hope weaving around them like a comforting blanket. They laughed at silly stories from their lives, and with each laugh, the walls they had put up slowly crumbled. For the first time that evening, both felt a genuine connection surpassing their backgrounds. But just as she was beginning to lose herself in this newfound bond, Nathan's phone buzzed against the table, disrupting the intimacy of their moment. He glanced at the screen, and the smile faltered for a brief instant, replaced by concern. "It's my business partner. He might need me for something important." Lisa felt the pit in her stomach drop. How could she have forgotten that their worlds were still pulling them apart? "Go ahead," she urged reluctantly. "I don't want to keep you from anything important." "Are you sure?" He hesitated, the conflict clear on his face. "Yeah, I'll be fine," she smiled, giving him the encouragement he needed. But the truth was, she was already feeling the weight of his absence. Nathan stepped outside, phone pressed to his ear, and Lisa was left alone with her thoughts. She gazed at the beautiful decor around her, her heart a mixed vault of hope and uncertainty. Moments they shared danced through her mind. His laughter, the warmth in his gaze, the unexpected understanding. Despite everything, she didn't want him to go. When Nathan returned a few minutes later, he was visibly shaken. "I need to go," he said, trying to mask the urgency in his tone with an apologetic smile. "I'll make it up to you, I promise." How could he leave so easily after everything? The realization hit hard. Their connection, so tentative and fragile, felt as it might shatter with the slightest breeze. "Wait," she said, her voice stronger than she felt. "Can we exchange numbers? I'd like to continue this conversation. When you have time." "Absolutely," he replied without hesitation. As they traded numbers, the air crackled with tension, anticipation shining bright. They stood close, yet miles apart under the chandelier's glow. With a deep breath, he leaned in to say goodbye, their closeness igniting a warmth that made her wish for just a few more minutes. "Take care, Lisa," he said, lingering for a moment before stepping back, a bittersweet farewell in his eyes as he turned to walk away. She stood frozen, watching him disappear into the city night. Hope and fear battled within her. What would happen next? Would their worlds unite or remain at odds? The unanswered question settled deep in her heart, echoing louder than the jazz that surrounded her. The gravity of their connection was undeniable, yet fate had woven their stories in a way that left her yearning for more. And it wasn't just about love. It was about greater understanding in a world split by circumstance. But after that kiss goodbye, could she find a way to reach him again? Would their paths align once more? Lisa stood there for what felt like hours, the city lights twinkling like distant stars, each one whispering a promise she wasn't sure would be kept. She clutched the phone tightly, the weight of it in her hand both comforting and unsettling. A link had been forged, but what would come of it? Her thoughts raced. Each moment they shared flickered in her mind his laughter, the honesty in his voice, the way the air seemed to hum around them. The past week had been a whirlwind of long shifts at the hospital, dealing with patients and family concerns, each day blending into the next. Yet Nathan had shaken her out of that monotony, revealing a world brighter and fuller, though still tinged with uncertainty. With a sigh, she allowed herself to lean against the heavy wooden door of the venue, closing her eyes for just a moment. The warmth of the moment they shared began to wrap around her like a soft blanket. She could still feel the tingling warmth of his presence, but it quickly faded into the night air without him by her side. Just as she turned to leave, her phone buzzed again. Her heart skipped. Maybe it was a message from him. She opened the screen, only to find a notification from a group chat with her friends. They were excitedly discussing weekend plans, something normal and fun. But all Lisa could think about was Nathan. "Lisa, hey," a familiar voice called out, pulling her back to her surroundings. Amanda, a fellow nurse and one of her closest friends, approached with a bright smile. "You look a little dazed. Everything okay?" "Yeah, just a lot on my mind," Lisa replied, forcing a smile. Amanda peered at her knowingly. "It's about that guy you were talking about, it? The CEO? I mean, wow." She laughed lightly, spreading infectious energy. "You seem different. More alive." Lisa felt warmth spread across her cheeks. "I mean, we just connected, you know? But now he has gone. And he'll reach out. Amanda assured her, a sparkle in her eyes. I can tell you two had something. You deserve it. But are you really ready for a guy like him? You know he lives in a different world, right? I think that's part of it, Lisa said, her heart racing as she thought about the barriers they both faced. I want to know him. But what if it's too complicated? Speaking of complicated, Amanda began, a sly grin spreading across her face. I have a brilliant idea, and you're gonna love it. Before Lisa could respond, Amanda continued, what if I set you up for a casual double date? Nothing serious, just friends hanging out. It'll take your mind off things. Plus, you can see what it's like to be around someone like Nathan, but in a more laid-back environment. A double date? Lisa raised her brow. With who? With a dramatic flourish, Amanda revealed her plan, mentioning a couple of guys from their mutual friend circle who would be perfect fun, charming, and grounded. Lisa felt a flutter of excitement and apprehension at the idea. Okay, I guess that could take my mind off everything. Lisa relented, a hint of a smile forming on her lips. Maybe this was what she needed to clear her head. Great. Amanda clapped her hands. Let us do it. Set the date, and who knows what could happen. As they chatted about the details, Lisa couldn't shake the nagging feeling that she was straddling two worlds. Would going out with someone else help her decide what she wanted with Nathan? Or confuse her more? That night, as she fell asleep, Lisa found herself wondering if she was closing one door while hoping another would open. And underneath it all, a question lingered: did her heart truly beat for someone so different? Or should she choose the comfort she already knew? With a hint of anticipation mixed with uncertainty, she slipped into dreams that she hoped would reveal her path forward, knowing the next message from Nathan could change everything. But what happened next was beyond anyone's guess. The next morning, a beam of sunlight spilled through Lisa's window, warming her skin and nudging her awake. She sat up slowly, her mind still tangled in dreams, but the memory of Amanda's plan bubbled up, igniting a flicker of excitement in her chest. What could a double date really be like? Each thought brought its own rush: laughter, easy conversations, maybe even a glance that made her heart skip. She could forget about the stress of hospital shifts for just a little while. Perhaps it would show her what she wanted. That tiny flicker deep inside her morphed into a flame of curiosity. After a hurried breakfast, Lisa jumped into her day. Each moment she spent with patients felt like the depth of her care was multiplied, as if the weight of her thoughts somehow fueled her compassion. The nurse's station buzzed with activity, but all she could think about was how tonight would feel as the hours melted away. She couldn't resist sneaking peeks at her phone, half hoping for a text from Nathan. Nothing. The silence stretched between them like an unscalable wall, leaving her heart heavier with each passing minute. Later, while on a break in the bustling cafeteria, Amanda slid into the seat across from Lisa. You okay? You look like you've got a lot going on in that beautiful head of yours, she said, a teasing smile playing on her lips. Just nervous, I guess, Lisa admitted, tapping her phone idly on the table. Maybe I shouldn't have agreed to a double date. It feels weird. Nervousness is just excitement in disguise, Amanda grinned. Trust me, just go for it. Live a little. Lisa tried to muster confidence, but the truth was, the thought of seeing Nathan in the back of her mind nagged at her. What if tonight blew away the chance of something real with him? She voiced her concerns, her voice quieter, almost drowned out by laughter in the space around them. Amanda leaned in closer, her eyes serious. You don't have to close any doors tonight. It's just dinner. An experience. Pressure isn't invited. The warmth in Lisa's chest grew at her friend's unwavering belief. What could this night reveal? As evening approached, Lisa followed Amanda's advice and slipped into a casual outfit that made her feel effortlessly beautiful. With each brush of her hair and dab of lipstick, she felt like she was stepping into something new, momentarily leaving behind worries. When they arrived at the trendy restaurant, laughter filled the air, buzzing with familiar energy. The atmosphere was electric, dimly lit with soft music curling around the tables like an embrace. As they found their seats, Lisa felt the warmth of anticipation. Then, her eyes flickered to the entrance, and there he was, Daniel, a friend of Amanda's who had his reputation for being charming and fun. He flashed a broad grin that immediately crinkled the corners of his eyes. For a moment, the very air seemed to vibrate with possibility. As the evening unfolded, Lisa found herself laughing more than she had in ages. her heart lightening with each joke and story shared among the four of them. And yet, Nathan was a shadow that lurked at the back of her mind. What if he was the one who really mattered? The laughter was interrupted by the sound of a phone buzzing on the table. Lisa's heart stuttered. It was her phone. Her pulse quickened, and all at once, the room and Daniel blurred as she reached for it. A nervous energy spiraling in her stomach. When she glanced at the screen, the dread and hope collided with dizzying intensity. It was a message from Nathan. With bated breath, she opened it, only to find an unexpected twist waiting on the other side, something that would shake the world she thought she knew. Lisa's heart raced as she read the message. "Hey Lisa, I know you've been busy, but I really wanted to see you. Can we talk? There's something important I need to share. Tonight would be perfect." Every sound in the restaurant faded to a distant hum, and for a moment, it felt as if the world had narrowed down to just her and the phone. The vibrant energy around her dulled laughter, once bright and comforting, now tinged with uncertainty. The glow of Amanda and Daniel's playful banter receded, and an echo of Nathan's words rang in her ears. "Hey," Daniel's voice broke through, concern creasing his brow. "You okay?" She forced out what felt like the only honest answer. "I think I need to step outside for a minute." Without waiting for a response, Lisa slid out of her chair and made her way through the restaurant, her pulse hammering in her ears. Outside, the cool evening air wrapped around her like a balm, temporarily softening the storm inside. She leaned against the wall, gripping her phone as if it held the answers to every question she had been avoiding. What was this important thing Nathan wanted to discuss? Was it about them, about her work, or something entirely different? The tight knot in her stomach twisted even tighter. Taking a deep breath, she replied, her fingers trembling as she typed. "Is everything all right? I'm here and can talk." A moment passed before the three bubbles appeared, confirming he was typing back. She held her breath, anticipation mounting. Finally, his name lit up the screen. "I'll come over. Can we meet at the cafe down the street? It's quieter." Lisa's heart sank a little. A meeting at the cafe? That felt heavy. There was an urgency in his tone that made her feel as if the world was being turned upside down again. A flicker of doubt washed over her. Should she go? She had turned away from her original plans to connect with Daniel, and now she was on the verge of unraveling her evening even further. What would happen if she saw Nathan? Would it be the conversation that cleared the air, or would it be messy, exposing vulnerabilities she wasn't ready to face? "Do you want me to come with?" Amanda's voice pulled her back, and she turned to see her friend standing a few feet away, a look of concern on her face. "No, I need to go alone. I need to know what he has to say," Lisa confessed, her voice catching slightly as the uncertainty crinkled her brow. "Okay, but if you need anything, I'm right here," Amanda replied gently. Lisa managed a smile, thankful for her friend's unwavering support. As she moved back inside the restaurant, she felt weighty decisions forming around her. Each step to her table felt laden with what-ifs and maybes, as if her feet were stuck in clay. Back at the table, she put on a brave face, sharing a few more smiles and laughs with Daniel and Amanda, but the buoyant energy had dissipated. They wrapped up their dinner, but all Lisa could think about was Nathan's message, the possibility of what was to come. As they prepared to leave, Lisa's phone vibrated once more. Another message from Nathan ignited her nerves all over again. She had agreed to this night to escape, yet she was now about to plunge into something deeper. "Just breathe," she reminded herself, but the thought did little to quell the anxious flutter in her chest. "I'll see you guys later," she managed to say, determination rolling through her. "Let us know how it goes." Amanda called after her, a twinkle of hope in her voice as Lisa stepped out into the night, headed toward the cafe. With every step, her heart raced and her thoughts swirled. What waited for her at that little cafe? When Nathan revealed his truth, would she have the strength to face whatever it was? Or would they both be faced with the possibility that some connections are worth the risk? The cafe glowed in the distance, a beacon of unforeseen change. As she approached, her palms clammy and her breath hitching in her chest, Lisa wondered if her life would ever be the same again. The cafe door swung open with a soft chime that echoed in the quiet space. Lisa stepped inside, the warmth enveloping her like a comforting hug. She scanned the room, her heart doing somersaults as she searched for Nathan. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee mingled with the sweet scent of baked goods, but all she could focus on was the knot of uncertainty tightening in her chest. There he was, sitting at a small table in the far corner, his gaze fixed on the door as if he had been waiting just for her. His tousled hair and the familiar outline of his profile sent a wave of nostalgia crashing over her. Memories of laughter, late-night talks, and those fleeting moments that had once felt so right flooded back in an instant. She took a deep breath and approached, each step feeling heavier than the last. As she neared the table, their eyes locked, bringing a rush of emotions: excitement, anxiety, and something deeper that lingered like an unspoken promise. "Hey," Nathan said, a hint of a smile creeping up his lips, but it didn't reach his eyes. There was a heaviness hanging in the air, an urgency that made her stomach flutter. "Hey," Lisa replied softly, sliding into the chair opposite him. "Thanks for meeting me." "Of course." He ran a hand through his hair, a gesture she had always found endearing. "I didn't want to talk over the phone." She nodded, her thoughts racing. "So what is going on?" The brief silence that followed felt like an eternity. He shifted in his seat, his expression betraying an internal battle. "It's about us. I've been thinking a lot about what happened and how we left things." Lisa's heart tightened. This wasn't what she had hoped to hear. "Nathan, I know. Please let me finish." His voice was firm yet pleading. "When you left for New York," he hesitated, searching her face as if trying to gauge her reaction. "I didn't handle it well. I thought we could just move on, but the truth is, I've missed you." The words washed over her, sweeping away the uncertainty for a brief moment. "I've missed you too," she admitted, the truth bubbling to the surface. "But what can we do now? So much has changed." He leaned forward, and for a moment, it felt as if they were the only two people in the world. "I've been offered a chance to relocate back here, to work on a project that means a lot to me if I take it. It could mean us being close again." Lisa's breath caught in her throat. This was everything she had wished for, but there was more at stake. "But what about everything else? You have responsibilities, and I want to prioritize what matters. I want us. Just think about it. Time apart made me realize I value our connection more than I thought." His eyes were earnest, earnestness that sent her heart racing. A mix of hope and fear surged within her. Could they really navigate this path again? The possibility felt thrilling yet terrifying. The cafe around them buzzed with activity, yet the world outside faded into a blur. With every tick of the clock, decisions loomed larger, and the air thickened with unsaid thoughts. "What if it doesn't work out?" she whispered, vulnerability creeping into her tone. "What if we risk everything again?" "Sometimes the hardest things are what bring the greatest rewards," he answered gently, reaching across the table. His hand lingered just above hers, the warmth pulling her in. Just then, his phone buzzed, and the distraction broke their moment. He glanced at the screen, a shadow of concern darkening his features. "I need to take this. It's work." Lisa nodded, her heart pounding as he stepped outside to answer. She was left alone with her swirling thoughts, a mix of fear and hope battling within her. Was she ready to open her heart again? And in that moment, staring down at the untouched coffee, she realized the journey ahead would be far from easy. Could they really rewrite their story? Would love be enough to bridge the gaps life had carved between them? She glanced toward the door, waiting for him to return, her emotions tangled like the steam rising from her cup. What awaited them at this crossroads? One thing was certain: the conversation wasn't over. As the door swung open again, Lisa prepared for whatever truth Nathan was about to reveal. Lisa's heart quickened as Nathan stepped back inside, a conflicted look etched on his face. He slid into the seat across from her, his phone still in hand, but now forgotten. The bustling cafe resumed its chatter around them, but it felt like a distant hum, fading into the background as anticipation thickened the air. "I'm sorry about that," Nathan said, rubbing the back of his neck. "It was just a quick issue, but it got me thinking about how quickly life can change." "Yeah, it can," Lisa replied, her mind still racing. What did they want? Just the usual crisis stuff. But it made me realize that we don't get to choose when those moments happen. We just have to be ready to respond. He paused, looking straight into her eyes. "Like this moment right now." His words sunk deep into her chest, sending a shiver down her spine. As much as she wanted to dismiss the connection they once had, they were tethered by shared experiences and memories that refused to fade. "What if I'm not ready?" she whispered, the vulnerability spilling over once more. What if leaping back into this life means risking everything again? Nathan's expression softened. But isn't that what life is about? Taking chances? Facing the uncertainty together instead of apart? She looked away, her gaze drifting to the coffee cups scattered on their table and the laughter of friends across the room. I wish it were that simple. I know, he replied, leaning closer. But we can make it simple. Let us start with baby steps. Maybe we can reignite our friendship first and see where it leads. No pressure, just see what happens. His words hung in the air, an invitation drenched in hope. Lisa could feel her heart responding, the mix of fear and excitement bubbling beneath the surface. Could they really start over? Was it possible to rebuild something that felt so fragile, yet so vital? Just then, a loud crash echoed through the cafe. A young waitress had dropped a tray of cups, and flustered, she rushed to pick them up. The moment broke the tension that had wrapped tightly around Lisa and Nathan, pulling them back into reality. With a half-smile, Nathan took her hand, his touch sending a jolt of warmth through her. See, life is messy, but sometimes a little chaos is exactly what we need to move forward. Lisa chuckled lightly, despite the weight of their conversation. You always did have a way of making things sound easier. Nathan raised his eyebrows, a hint of the charm that once drew her to him shining through. That's what I'm here for. To remind you that sometimes taking a risk is worth it. They sat in a comfortable silence, their hands still joined across the table. In that moment, their shared connection felt like a lifeline, strong and unyielding. She found herself wondering if perhaps this time could be different. All right, she finally said, her voice steady. Let us start with that. Let us be friends again and see where it leads us. A smile broke across Nathan's face, bright and genuine. I can work with that. Lisa felt a rush of relief wash over her. It was a small step, but it was a step nonetheless. She was ready to begin this journey of rediscovery. As complicated as it might become that as they finished their cups of coffee, a new certainty flickered between them. But right as they began to talk more, Nathan's phone buzzed again, this time insistently. I'm so sorry, he said, glancing at the screen, brows knitting together. This must be important. Lisa nodded, watching as he stepped outside once more. But this time, her heart wasn't heavy with doubt. It was filled with a tentative hope. The thrill of possibility hung in the air as she waited, contemplating their conversation. What awaited them when he returned? Would a new chapter begin, or would reality soon intervene, challenging their fragile plans once again? Lisa's thoughts swirled as she stared at the door where Nathan had just exited. The warmth from their earlier conversation pulsed through her veins, but the uncertainty of what lay ahead threatened to dampen her spirits. She glanced at her phone, half expecting a message from him, an indication that his call would take longer than planned. But there was nothing. She let her eyes drift around the cafe. It was filled with people sharing laughter and stories, moments that felt meaningful to them. In stark contrast, her own life felt like a pile of unfinished puzzles, pieces scattered everywhere. As she sipped her coffee, glancing down at the patterns swirling in the cup, she couldn't shake off the feeling that she was standing at the edge of an unfamiliar cliff, staring down into a swirling abyss. Her thoughts were disrupted when a movement caught her eye. A group of friends at a nearby table were sharing a jovial moment, laughter erupting like bubbles from a shaken soda can. Lisa couldn't help but smile at their unrestrained joy. It reminded her of the time when she and Nathan were like them, sharing inside jokes and small anticipations for the future. That train of thought was derailed by the cafe door swinging open. Nathan stepped back inside, his face taut with a mix of urgency and concern. He approached her quickly, a rapid-fire mantra of apologies spilling from his lips. I'm really sorry. It went longer than I thought. They really needed me. Is everything okay? She asked, sitting up straight, her stomach tensing slightly. He nodded, but the flicker in his eyes suggested otherwise. Yeah, just typical work stuff. You know how it goes. I didn't mean to leave you hanging. It's all right. I just was wondering if you'd still want to talk, she said, her voice softer than before. The contrast between urgency and anxiety buzzed in the air around them. Definitely. I actually wanted to bring something up, Nathan replied, pulling his phone from his pocket. This time, though, the same urgency that hurt their earlier connection lingered. A buzz rang through the cafe as notifications vibrated against the surface of the table. What is it? Lisa asked, Her heart quickening at the intensity brewing behind his words, he took a deep breath and locked his gaze onto hers. I've been doing a lot of thinking since we last talked. About us, about everything. I want to be honest. There are things in my life that I can't keep at bay anymore. Things I haven't shared with you. Her heart raced faster, both excitement and apprehension colliding within her. Like what? He hesitated, his fingers drumming nervously against the table's edge. I've been keeping secrets, Lisa, things I thought were better left unsaid. But if we're going to try to start over, I feel like you should know the truth. I want us to move forward without shadows lingering. Just then, a loud cheer erupted from the table of friends, pulling their focus momentarily. For an instant, everything felt bright and possible. But as Nathan's gaze returned to her, the gravity of the conversation loomed once more. Secrets? She repeated softly, feeling the lump in her throat grow. What sort of secrets? Nathan glanced down, the tension in the air thickening with each passing second. She could feel the words tugging at his lips, the weight of whatever was coming next pressing not only on him, but on her as well. This moment could shape everything, and with it came the thrill and fear of uncertainty. What if this is too much too soon? She whispered, her heart pounding like a drum. But his eyes were locked on hers, fierce and determined. Sometimes, facing the truth is the only way to really move forward. Lisa drew a deep breath, readying herself for the truth that was about to unfold. What did he have to say? Would it build a bridge between them, or pull them apart for good? As Nathan opened his mouth to speak, the cafe door swung open yet again, and another familiar but unexpected face stepped inside. Lisa's breath caught in her throat, stunned by the sight. The warm buzz of possibility was suddenly overshadowed by something else entirely. Who had just arrived? And how would this new presence change everything? Lisa's heart raced as she turned towards the door. Her mind swirled with possibilities, each more bewildering than the last. The figure striding into the cafe was unmistakable. It was Emily, her best friend from college, dressed in a vibrant red dress that accentuated her confident demeanor. Lisa, Emily called out, spotting her immediately. She strode over, an effervescent smile lighting up her face, seemingly unaware of the tension brewing in the air between Lisa and Nathan. I didn't know you'd be here. Hey, Em. Lisa managed, trying to disguise her own upheaval with a smile. The warmth and familiarity of Emily felt like a lifeline, pulling her momentarily out of the swirling uncertainty with Nathan. I hope I'm not interrupting, Emily said, her eyes darting between the two of them, taking in Nathan's rigid posture and the intensity in Lisa's gaze. I just came for a quick bite before my shift. Crazy day at the hospital. No, it's fine, Nathan interrupted, his voice barely above a murmur. His usual charm seemed dimmed, overtaken by the weight of unspoken words. We were just having a discussion. A discussion? Emily raised an eyebrow, bemusement clear on her face. Sounds serious. Lisa's stomach twisted. This wasn't how she had envisioned this moment. She had been ready to face the truth with Nathan, yet now the atmosphere felt fragmented under the bright overhead lights, drowning out whatever intimacy had begun to build. Why don't you sit, Em? Lisa suggested, trying to regain some semblance of control. We were just about to dive into some deep stuff. Oh, deep stuff? My favorite. Emily laughed, sliding into the seat next to Lisa, oblivious to the thrum of tension around them. As they exchanged pleasantries, Lisa's focus shifted back to the unmistakable flicker of guilt in Nathan's eyes. He was still grappling with whatever he had wanted to confess. It felt unfair, the way life had inserted Emily into this moment, dancing into the cafe like an unwelcome guest at a critical conversation. Are you okay? You look a bit pale, Emily said suddenly, her attention now fully on Lisa. I'm fine, Lisa replied, forcing a smile. Her thoughts churned. Did she really want to share her turmoil with Emily? Or was this a moment meant to be shared solely with Nathan? Good, because I could use a distraction, Emily declared, completely unaware of Lisa's inner conflict. I'm telling you, you won't believe the antics that happened at the hospital today. Laughter bubbled up between Emily and Lisa, a bright spot amidst the shadows. Unable to avoid it, a small smile broke through Lisa's anxiety. Yet still, a tug of regret pulled at her heart, aware that she had dodged what could be a defining moment for her and Nathan. Nathan observed, his expression shifting from tension to something softer. yet haunted. Emily, I think we were just about to talk about some personal stuff, he said gently. Right. She looked back at him, her smile fading slightly as she sensed the weight behind his words. I didn't mean to know. It's okay, Lisa interrupted, realizing that she'd have to confront whatever Nathan was holding back, even with Emily present now. Nathan, she began, her voice steady. It's fine. Just tell me the truth, whatever it is. He regarded her for a heartbeat, the air thickening with uncertainty. But then, as if the universe was playing a cruel joke, the cafe door swung open once again, and another unexpected figure entered. This time, Lisa felt fear and excitement collide. Who could it be? What more could possibly shift the ground beneath her feet? Would this storm of surprises finally unravel the things left unsaid between her and Nathan? Lisa's heart nearly stopped as she turned to face the door. An unexpected figure entered the cafe, and shock coursed through her veins as she recognized him. Marcus, her estranged father. Time seemed to freeze as her entire past slammed back into her like a tidal wave. Memories of pain, arguments, and anger erupted inside her years spent nursing wounds, hoping for reconciliation but finding only silence. Dad, she managed, her voice barely a whisper. The warmth of the cafe seemed to vanish. Confusion and fear flickered across Nathan's face as he followed her gaze, his mouth opening in surprise. Lisa, Marcus replied, his voice filled with the weariness of a man who has carried regret for too long. The bustling cafe faded away, leaving just the three of them, Lisa, Nathan, and Marcus. Why are you here? Lisa's emotions rippled beneath her controlled facade. She felt Nathan's hand twitch slightly on the table, his presence a comforting anchor amidst the chaos of her family's history. I came to find you, Marcus began, his voice trembling in sincerity. I know I've messed up, but I wanted to at least try to talk. I've thought about you every day, and it's time I faced the consequences of my absence. I want to make things right. The words hung in the air, heavy and charged. They dug through the layers of Lisa's hurt, searching for a way to connect. But years of unresolved feelings surged up, waiting for an escape. 1,000 thoughts swirled in her head, but just when she opened her mouth to respond, Nathan spoke up. Marcus, I think this might not be the best time, he offered gently, shifting his gaze between father and daughter. No, Nathan, we can't, Lisa started, but her father cut her off. I get it, Nathan. You're here for Lisa, and I'm the interloper. But the fact is, my daughter deserves to know how sorry I am, Marcus said, his voice gaining strength. Every word felt like a chisel breaking away the stone wall Lisa had built. You had years to come back. I don't know if I can forgive you that easily. Then don't. Just hear me out, he urged, desperation coating his words. I made terrible mistakes, but running away was the worst one. I let you down. I just want a chance to explain. As Lisa contemplated, facing her father felt like standing on the cliff's edge. Every instinct screamed to retreat. Yet somewhere deep down, the desire for closure pulsed like a heartbeat. Nathan's voice broke through her thoughts, full of concern. You don't have to do this right now. No, she said, her mind stealing. I don't want to put this off any longer. I don't expect forgiveness, Marcus continued, his voice shaking, but I need to understand how you feel. I wasted far too much time, and I'm here to take responsibility. The tears started to gather, and she blinked them back fiercely. I've been taking care of myself, Dad. You gave up when I needed you most. It's not that easy. I know. The emotion in his voice was palpable, raw and earnest. And I am so sorry for that. But I'm here now, and I want to be a part of your life again. Please. In that moment, the energy shifted. All the tension in the air began to transform, opening a door that had been locked for too many years. It felt like a glimpse into a future she had longed to imagine, one where forgiveness could blossom, radiant, and full of possibilities. I need time to think about this, she murmured, her heart pounding fiercely. But you're right. It's time we had a real conversation. Marcus nodded solemnly, clearly understanding the gravity of her words. Nathan's hand squeezed hers reassuringly. You don't have to decide everything right now, he murmured, his gaze full of warmth and support. In that moment, it struck her that she didn't have to face her father alone. She had someone beside her, someone who understood her struggle, her fear, and her hope for connection. As the chaos in the cafe faded into the background once more, Lisa took a deep breath and looked at her father, then Nathan. "I'm willing to try," she said softly, the words finally spilling out. A flicker of lightness washed over the heavy air. Hope began to bloom, and as she sought the strength to reclaim her storyline, she knew she wasn't just forging a connection with Marcus. She was building one with Nathan, too. They were entwined threads spinning a new tapestry together, one filled with possibility. With the past aching but receding, and the future waiting with open arms, Lisa realized she was standing on the threshold of something beautiful. Though the road ahead might still twist and turn, she felt a spark of courage ignite within her heart. And so, there in that small cafe, amidst the laughter and warmth, a new chapter began, one of healing, understanding, and love that would withstand the trials of life. Don't wait. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us grow. We want to hear from you. Comment your reactions and feelings about this ending below, and share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Show your support. This is the moment for true fans to rise.